Tired of the same old when you're buying billiard supplies? Come shop with the big dogs at PullDog.com. You want pool cues? We've got over 700. Balls, cases, accessories, no problem. Want help with your game? How does hundreds of free training articles sound? Want to shop offline? We'll mail you a free catalog. Hit us up online, PullDog.com, or call 866-843-3294.
Starts the match, that being 8-ball or 9-ball.
Correct.
Now, I'm guessing as the tournament goes on, you know, they're all good players here, but you face, of course, the people that are in stroke and the people that are playing better because, of course, the tournament's advancing.
Yes.
But so maybe you want to take the first break no matter what as the tournament goes on.
As a rule, I think throughout the whole tournament, I've always done that. I've always taken the break, and I get a little surprised if somebody chooses 9-ball, to be honest with you, because I think every player in this tournament, if you play 9-ball, giving the break to anybody in 9-ball, you could lose a lot of games in a row.
Right.
So in 8-ball, you feel like you're going to get a chance to get loose, get a few shots, you know, just kind of get your turns at the table during 8-ball because you're not going to see a lot of packs ran in 8-ball.
Yeah, especially with the rules where you have to take what you make.
Correct.
You know, so, and I kind of feel like, you know, there's many players in the tournament that excel at both games, and you being one of those players where you'd rather have that first break no matter the game you play.
Correct.
But I think there is some strategy for some of the guys, and we had talked about it, and just as you had alluded to a minute ago, that I think a lot of the guys pick the 8-ball just so they get some time at the table early in the match, more of a guarantee, a little more security to get some shots early.
Yeah, even if it's just a tap a ball, get safe, anything, just to get a little time on the table for a second, take a couple warm-up strokes, get on the table. The big part about this tournament nobody really talks about, none of the fans see it, but there's absolutely zero practice. You cannot practice in this tournament. So the only thing you can do is basically come with what you got and get loose. So if you choose 9-ball and you're kind of nervous at the beginning and you're not in stroke, you could give up 3-4 games in a row because you're not ready. So
and maybe not even get to the 8-ball side of the match.
Correct.
Really,
8 games of 9-ball, the set could be over. So.
Sure. Well, I talked about it in the last match that I was so impressed by these amateurs, how dedicated they are here, and of course trying to do well. But a lot of them I talked to are going to other pool rooms to get time in on the table to be prepared for their matches. And I thought, you know, that's something the pros do a lot when they have to. Of course, they're playing, you know, for their living. But
correct.
But these amateurs, I'll tell you, I was pretty impressed with them.
Yeah, and then again, the what's his name again?
Sajal.
Sajal, yeah, his mechanics are pretty spot on. I watched him warming up the night before the tournament, and he's determined. He's grinding.
Yeah.
So I think he lost a close one to lose his on the winner's side. So, and the same with Al. Al's played 9-footers for a little while, but he's mainly a bar table player.
Yeah,
So,
well.
But again, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Frank the Barber.
I think I am, actually. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's out of California, a legend in the pool world with us and stuff. But Frank helped him a lot. Foch Garcia, those guys. So it's good to see Al, especially on the stream. So.
Yeah, well, Sajal, he comes from a part of the world that snooker was a very big part as far as cue sports. Probably more than pool when he first started, and you were talking about his mechanics and snooker background. They really emphasize the stance and a real solid foundation when it comes to playing. So you could see that real easy. Now, tough shot on the side here to start our match.
Great shot.
Yeah, great shot.
So yeah, I played with Al for quite a few years as far as qualifiers and different things, and again, the first time ever was with him. But he's definitely capable, great player. He works for, I believe, Mercedes-Benz as a technician, like a really, really high up in the technician guys and stuff. So again, all these players, they're working people. That's all they do, and they play this game for the passion. So.
Yeah, well, we talked about many times that no prize money here, but probably the biggest amateur title you could win. I have to guess.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
There's a lot of big ones out there with the leagues and whatnot, but I think with the big table and knowing this is a non-handicapped event and a lot of really great players, great amateurs, but great players play in it.
Yeah.
Big event, and there is a little bit to play for as far as you get to go play in a professional event, a couple of your choice.
Yeah, which usually is the U.S. Open, and it's probably going to continue to be the U.S. Open if I was, to choose for anybody. But some people might want Turning Stone or somewhere different, but APA gives you that chance. So, and actually in the past, some of the women that have won have chosen the men's event, as a place to go. But
well, the bigger the better, right?
Yeah.
So,
So
our first look at Sajal. He had a safety he tried to play from a tough position in the first rack with Al following it up with a nice run out. And I think the 9 plays to the lower right from a few places, so I kind of like stripes here.
Yeah, it's blocking that 7 from going anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think the 12 in the side is playable. That's near the 14. I might try and get at that right now if I could after shooting the 14.
Yeah. I think that's the 11 ball up there by the 15, which would make you want to get the 15 out first. 11's last before the 8 if your stripes, if possible.
This is one I would want to save unless I felt like I had to use it right now to get on the 9. That side is very clear. So a lot of times when you have a ball alone, you kind of want to get at it early, but these, there's nothing threatening about the 14. So.
And that's not.
Oh, okay.
That'll work.
There we go.
Yeah.
So maybe that wasn't so easy to get at the 9 for the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah. And he actually looks like he's looking at the window right now to get in between there, but.
I think he's going to rub the 7 a little, isn't he?
Correct.
So I don't think the 12 is that big of a problem with that other ball near the side. What is that, the 10 most likely? It's a little hard to tell the color sometimes on the monitor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So maybe slow roll this in, get on that
Cheat
gap.
the pocket a little full, but.
Okay, so now he's going to have to come with a tough one.
Yeah. Actually, probably the 9, if it passes that 1. Or is that the 13?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The color sometimes will get you. But, yeah, that's the 13 and the 5. But I think that's about his only option. I mean, he could cut the 14 in the
perfect.
side.
If you can stop it on a dime, then he'll have that 15 to clear that 11 to have it later. And should be pretty good.
Now, Sajal, I've seen him play some 9 ball, and I was very impressed as far as, good fundamentals.
Yeah.
And a super nice guy, but when he gets down at the table, he's very serious.
Oh, yeah.
You can see his entire facial complexion kind of changes. And
Yeah, I think I spoke with him. I think this is his second year here.
possibly my first year here, so.
I believe I've seen him here last year, and I had talked with him after the tournament a lot and just about different things. But, yeah, he's a super nice guy. So.
Okay, I like that choice, actually, and then I know he's going to have to shoot the 15 and 11, move the cue ball a little bit, but.
This is the problem here is if you run a little long on this tap-in, you're in trouble. But he looks like he's fine.
Yeah, he should be okay. The 8 looks like it passes the 7 in the lower right, so that helps. I'm curious if I'm him. It's how easy is the 11 in the side after the 15? It's not bad, right? So you don't have to move the cue ball a couple rails to get to the 11 off the 15.
Yep.
And if he got real full on it, he could stop and shoot the 11 in the lower left-hand corner. He got a little angle.
I don't think he has the angle to
hold
take
the ball.
The 11 in the corner.
Yeah.
But just a little slide over, probably about 4 balls over to the left, and he's straight in on the 11. That's it. Getting an angle on the side pockets on accident is never any good.
Right.
Like this angle's, it's okay, but now he's flirting with the 2.
Yeah, and he may have to edge the 2 and play the cue ball a little bit running off the 2 to get position on the 8.
He doesn't like it, you can tell. So you might even be able to play a little bit of a stun shot, come around 3 rails, straight in on the 8, because he ended up
getting a little steep.
If he can use the inside of the 2 with a little inside English, he'd be okay.
Yeah, I think that's what tells me naturally. And if you don't catch any of the 2, it's okay. You just come out and take a little longer shot on the 8.
Yeah.
Key is he doesn't want to hit the 2 very
on the
full.
Bad side, yeah.
Missed the 11.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think
about
both of us were
angle.
watching the cue ball, huh?
Yeah. So
Al in a prime position now, and to get at game number 2.
Yeah. And it looks like, again, same kind of situation he was in. That 6 and 3 are in a line together. You got to get that 3 out to clear the 6.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen a couple times that in this position, and you know as well as I do, that if you run all your balls off but 1 or maybe none and you give up the table, you're in a really hard position to win. But I've seen a few amateurs get ahead of themselves, meaning take a few chances in this position to where you really don't have to take many chances if you're like in Al's position here.
Correct.
You know, with 1-11 ball, if it's not hanging over a corner somewhere, you have a lot of places to get the cue ball safe.
Yeah. Cinch the ball a little bit and just make sure you're making it. So
yeah, don't take any missable shots really, and you know, especially with an exposed cue ball.
So here again, it looks like this is the decision. What I was talking about earlier, though, is it the 6 ball last or the 7 ball last?
I kind of like the 6 last, just because
stop shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can get stop on the 7, stop on the 6, and have the 8 very near, and the ball he's playing off of, meaning the forward, which will go back down table afterwards. It's real easy to come to that open left side of the table and get real nice and straight in on the 7.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, no worries. I mean, you know, he's going to be in a position most likely, even if he got a little difficult.
It's good he's walking the table as well.
Yeah.
For anybody that's new at playing or anything like that, you got to walk the table. If you don't walk the table, you don't see those angles that actually get you out. He went a little long here, and this is going to be.
And this becomes a decision.
Yeah, I like personally on this shot going a little tear of high right and come back and forth.
2 rails.
If you try to drag this under the 6, a lot of weird things can happen.
Yeah, you can get jacked up over the 11 very easily, an awkward shot.
Yeah.
Oh, he overcut it.
He shot it the right way.
I think so.
Just overcut it.
And I talked about this all week, that without even knowing, when you can easily like try to cheat the shot to help cue ball movement, you know, to help the angle you want the cue ball to go on. And so you got to pay attention that you don't eat. It's very easy to kind of like compensate a little bit to help
Correct.
what you're trying to do with the cue ball, and then you lose
And
focus
then the
on the
opposite
opposite ball.
happens. It ends up twice as bad.
Right. Even if you do make the ball sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be one of Sajal's strengths is the long ball pocketing. We may not see so much of that.
Oh.
Well, I spoke too soon.
The old commentator's jinx.
Yeah, I do it all the time. But like I said, we may not see it here in the 8-ball so much, but I think in the 9-ball we'll see a little bit more of his firepower.
Yeah, you see 9-ball people switch. It's weird how that happens mentally, but people they don't have the confidence, I think, in 8-ball because it's such a chess game. And it's almost like playing one pocket. People that play one pocket have this little short stroke, and they play good, but a good guy that plays one pocket doesn't have to play great 9-ball at all because they don't have the stroke to play a lot of times.
Yeah, and you have your choices on how you want to play things. You can play a little tighter, you can play a little looser, but
yeah, in 9-ball you got to open your stroke. You get loose.
Okay.
Al takes number 2. I want to give a shout out to Al's wife Samantha and his 2 kids. They're awesome.
They're probably watching it here.
Oh yeah, probably.
And that nice California weather.
Yep.
Although it's pretty nice here today.
It is very
hard
nice
to be
here.
inside in the pool room.
Yep. We had a little rain that surprised me. But
yeah. I was trying to entertain if we could move the booth outside. A little too much work for that.
And so this is interesting, too. I like to watch different players. Al likes the head break. Me, personally, I like the side break. Why, I think, is because APA allows you that 1-point win if the 8 goes in the side.
Right.
It's pretty big game.
We saw it here. There may have been more since, but we did have 1-8 on the break at a crucial moment early in the tournament. So
I think it's and I also think that if you hit the second ball and things don't work out like you wanted to, the 8 doesn't go in, there's a little bit more clusters.
Yeah, more protection, right?
You get to outmove people, I guess is a good way to put it. But
yeah, that's been the standard with the second ball break for some time, that if you feel like you're a good 8-ball player where you can get out from tough situations, a lot of them lend towards breaking the second ball because you don't mind the tough situations to run out. But if you don't make a ball in the break, it makes things difficult on your opponent.
I agree. In that head ball break, I've seen so many people break dry and not make anything, and it's wide open.
Yeah,
like
with the choice, too.
Almost,
with the choice. That's the thing. When you make a ball in the break, you have to take what you make, whereas your incoming player has the choice, which is really powerful.
Yeah, and you would have talked about it earlier about the APA 8-ball, the way if you make a solid, you're solids.
Yeah.
That's it. And like Darren Appleton's little tour that he was having was that way as well. It makes 8-ball a lot harder.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit of luck factor, I guess you can say, but at the same time, it makes you have to play.
Sure. It can be one, like you said, it can be one-sided against you, the pool gods. You can make it solid, and, the solids look like a Rubik's Cube, kind of like difficult. Where vice versa for your opponent, or they may have some easy layouts. But I think it's a better way to play 8-ball.
I do, too. I think the other rules that I've seen where you make one, you can make whatever you want, I don't think that's really legitimate because you can just run rack after rack after rack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like anything that shows you more about the game. And if you play take what you make, you get to see a lot more of what 8-ball's about.
Correct. And I think it is a lot like chess, seeing the different things. Never bump a ball, all that kind of stuff, unless you have to.
Right. Unless it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He's made a couple nice openers here, and he's got the 2 in the lower right corner. He's going to get at that 4.
It looks pretty good as long as that 6 clears up there.
Yeah, the way he played it tells me it does. And he's gotten perfect, I think, where he can go forward in between the 11-10 with no problem. He could even go down to the 1, I think, if he had to. Don't think he needs to. Just maybe a foot or 15 inches right here with the cue
just
ball.
don't brush that 11.
That's perfect. He'll just stop his ball and come a couple rails naturally off the 1 towards the 3. Could come 1 rail, just kind of depends on how he falls here.
So the key here is just not stop it completely. Well, actually, you're fine too if you do that. He's right-handed,
yeah, he's
so
righty.
it's good.
Yes, probably be some type of little stun, though. Depends on if he's just dead straight or not. Okay,
You like to stun it, yeah.
Yeah, he had to go to the rail. And a real simple motion, that's what I like to see. Sajal, not a lot of extra moving parts.
Yeah.
Body movements, not jumping around. And
yeah, you can tell he has a snooker background a little bit.
just the way he did that right there, how he held his cue,
Yep.
very similar. I know some guys in Austin. I was just there a few weeks ago, and his name was mentioned. They've just been living there now about 6 months. Well, he's having to take some distance here.
So we might have to see a little bit of a drawback here.
Yeah.
At this distance is missable on these tables for sure.
For sure,
but,
yeah.
I played a guy earlier who had this exact shot, and he scratched in the side for some reason that I could never explain how he did it, but
wow,
he did it.
He just pured it then.
Yeah, he hit it so good that it just sucked back. But I think a stop shot here will slide on its own.
Yeah, it will. It'll get to the rail and offer a little cut in the side.
Yeah. Just like that.
That was like perfectly hit.
Yep. And now you can't really make a mistake from here. Just roll it in, and there's no scratch in play or anything. So.
You know, as the tournament goes on, just like most tournaments, the players take a little more time naturally, or you catch a little more of the players that do take their time. But I've been real impressed with the pace of play here also the last couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody's kind of starting to the first round you'll start seeing some errors that, like everybody just wants to get loose or whatever, but once they won a match or they lost a match but they got their feet wet, it's a whole different style of play after that.
Sure.
Seen some good players that I saw, I was like, wow. They'll come up and say, that's the worst I've ever played. And I say, well, you got your first round out of play. It can happen. So, this is a hard event. Again, the whole no practice thing is difficult for a lot of players.
Sure.
Guys like Sajal, he's got great mechanics. So for him to not go practice, he can probably get away with it more than most of these guys who have a little bit of errors.
Sure.
So.
We talk about it. I teach a lot, and a lot of people, they say, well, Jeremy, I have a problem. It's that starting. Like if I get to play an hour or so, I find my timing, I find my stroke, so we try to work on things to get them to come out of the gate
Correct.
much better.
Minimize that a little.
Yeah, but it's almost just human nature for some to start a little slowly, and some of that's mental. You got to gain that mental confidence along with the physical, maybe getting a little time at the table, but it's not uncommon. Somewhat like the Seattle Seahawks, I guess. They fall behind 2 or 3 touchdowns every game, it seems like, before they come back and win. But
well, I've watched Shane Van Boening for quite a long time, and I see when he takes a break, when he comes back, he's not in great form. He's got a little bit of fundamentals I see that are not great, but he plays 10 hours a day. Those fundamentals are him. That's how he is. He takes that break and comes back. It's going to take him a bit to get that same thing to happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about that with Shane with the Moscone a lot. That we help guys with technique a lot, but Shane's a little bit unique as far as
He's
his
got that little
fundamentals,
pronating back elbow that just happens to come in and last second come over, and that's his way.
And he's a little bit more of a hitter of the cue ball. He doesn't really go through the cue ball that much. Which is not really that standard of a way to
correct.
Trying
the
to develop.
deliverance isn't the same. Yeah.
But he's one of a kind guy, one in a million guy, and he trains as hard as anyone. So.
Yep.
Okay, a long shot here, I believe, on the 3. Okay, got it down. He's wanting to get over for the 5 in the side.
Not ideal being on the rail, but
I like what he was thinking, though. Kind of minimize. A lot of people say, well, let me put a lot of inside here and get a, cue ball all the way around. But from that distance, the shot became very missable with inside coming off the end
Correct.
rail.
And I've seen it happen a lot today, or today especially. I've seen a few guys have the same shot. So here, he's got to get at the right angle, though, because getting a little funny on the 6 could give you no shot anywhere.
I'm trying to think what's his.
Oh, never mind. He was dead straight. He's good.
So what do you do to get on the 4, though? You got to think about the 4. There's a lot of stripes on that right side of the table. So
yeah,
whether it be getting from the 2 to the 4, which I think is the best way.
His 7's last is what we're thinking.
Yeah, but even if you like shoot this right, stop your ball, get a nice angle to just slide over for the cut on the 4, you still have a lot of traffic trying to get back on that 7. So
yeah, correct.
nothing easy here.
I kind of like just the stop shot here. Just don't scratch, and then a stop shot in the side slides you up table, off the back rail, back to the 4. And then you got a little work coming back on the 7, but your 4 is already gone. Or your 2, sorry.
Yeah.
Will be gone.
He's got to try to continue the out, that's for sure.
Yeah. And his 4 is posing a problem on all the stripes. Up top.
I'm trying to think of which way
If you
I
can kill
like
a stop
best,
shot on this 6, you're pretty good. Hold a little angle to go up to the 4.
Yeah, I like going from the 2 to the 4, and you know, there's going to be some chance a little bit going from the 4 to the 7, but
he's going to roll high here.
He's trying to get to the 4 now, and I almost don't blame him there too, just because it's a little easier to get from the 2 to the 7.
True.
So if he can get on the 4 right now,
and he didn't.
Yeah, a little
but
shy.
It's bankable if you're feeling really confident.
And he's got all 3 to choose at. He's got a bank on the 4. I think he can get at the 7, and I know he can get at the 2.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to change plans here.
But commit to one of them. That's
important.
So.
That's a big part of pool.
That's a little better angle to look at. Yeah, I think I'm banking here. If you're going to go for the out. If you don't like the out, you can, well, you can't even bump up. You can't do much here. You're going to have to go for something to get out.
Yeah, and that's the decision is banking the 4. If I make the 4, that's more of like the winning shot, it looks like. You can draw around to get on the 7 or the 2 in the side. You can draw by the 11. So it's kind of more or less one winning shot. If you go with the 2 and 7, well, you're probably going to have to make a couple winning shots with position.
And you're in a trap,
right.
Almost, really, if you don't shoot the 4.
Right. Okay, so a big one here, and I think he'll just slide by the 11.
Yeah, if you don't touch the 11, it's great, unless we're seeing. Now, this is if he does see the 7 full, this is also an easy option too. But
yeah, but I still think it's tough getting to the 4 off the 7, no matter how you lay.
Yeah, you have to be where the 15 is on shape.
Yeah.
Good shot.
Okay, so now he's going to have to motor the cue ball, it looks like, with some high right coming a couple rails.
Or draw it into the 15.
True. Yeah, that might be the play, actually, and take the cut shot. Just get over to this side of the table is what Brian's saying.
Yeah.
Can't let up on it, though. You know.
No, because there's no angle. If you go high right on the 7,
yeah, you're going
you're
towards
falling
a lot.
on. You got to hit the 11.
Yeah, you're going towards a lot of trouble. I thought he might just entertain going towards that gap on the 12-11, but I do like the draw shot, looking more and more at it.
We know Efren, he would just hit it with high right and just back clip the 11 out of the way and be
or
ready.
Maybe even coast in between the 12 and
yeah.
11. He's looking at stunning over for the gap between the 12 and 11. If the 14 wasn't there, I mean, I could almost see that, but
I think a lot of players would honestly like the high right just because it feels more natural.
Mm-hmm.
But the draw shot, I think, is probably the best. But it's super hard to fall on that ball because you're right back where you were earlier on banking the 4.
Mm-hmm. But, again, one bank to win the game, most likely. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, true. He's grinding it out, though.
I can't tell if he's hitting a high ball. I think he is.
Looks like high right, yeah. Hit it good. He might actually.
Oh, he hit it great.
Freeze up on the. No, he hit it perfect.
He's going to go right in between them and not get a shot.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
Amazing.
So Efren-esque, you might say.
Yeah, he just didn't end up clipping any balls. So.
Yeah, he's got to work on his speed control a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, I still think this
in a
is
joking
makeable.
way. I was joking right there. He hit it great.
Yeah, he did. This is
To
still
the
makeable.
upper left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a dippy stroke. You have to really quick. It's a little poke stroke.
Yeah, and he may have to put a little inside on that low English to try and make the cue ball escape. If he just hits it with outside, I think he'll catch near that second point, and the cue ball just kind of stall.
Yeah. Do you have the other angle?
Yeah.
You could show. Yeah, that's pretty steep. You can't cut it in the top right.
No,
but
definitely.
Obviously, bottom left pocket there,
and really forced to shoot, in this position when you only got one soldier out there and they got a bunch. Pretty hard to win the game.
Yeah, it's very hard to control this cue ball or know exactly where it's going to at the speed he's going to hit it, and so thin.
And he's got to draw it.
It's got to be pokey, quick tap.
Oh, pretty good.
Just like that.
And he got out.
Yeah,
so maybe are out of the match if he can finish it.
Yeah, he's grinding this for sure. Now here, even when I'm playing these types of shots, me personally, I still like to leave the cue ball on the bottom rail.
Yeah.
At all times.
And it's natural. And one thing about that, what you said is you always want to direct the cue ball. That way you're shooting a shot like you normally would. You don't want to just let it wander.
Yeah, correct.
Like I actually played.
It has a purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And that worked, and he left it down the bottom. So
that's great.
A good job.
Great out there.
All right, guys, I got to sign off here. I got to go get ready for my match.
Oh, I didn't know you were playing so shortly. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. So.
Well, thank you, Brian, and we'll have you back in. And you'll be motoring through the loser side, but we'll try and get you back in. If not, we'll get you on the screen later on.
I'll try. I got to say hi to my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
Back home. So, and all my friends in Bakersfield. So.
There you
Thanks,
go.
guys.
All right. Good luck. Brian Parks, 5-time champion here, and suffered a loss earlier today, but had a quick win right afterwards. So a big bounce back there for Brian. All right, so Sajal with the break here in the 5th game. And doesn't break him, doesn't hit him as hard as the other guys. I think he can, but choosing to play a more controlled break and got a nice spread and balls going around everywhere. You can see the 12 hung in the side. The 2 is deep up in the upper left-hand corner. So immediately Alfonso Moreno is probably going to take the solids. Starts with the 2 ball. Gonna have to get at that 3 that has a couple of pockets, and that 7 that's kind of lonely down here by itself on the bottom rail. But he's playing for the 4 in the side. And this is where he, the 3 actually might go by the 12 in the side. Not sure, but this is where he might go ahead and come down for that 7. Not sure what the angle tells us. Yeah, he's got a little angle to come down there, so. Kind of up to him, but that's kind of where the cue ball wants to go naturally. He played it light. He's going to go ahead and take the 5 away. He's going to shoot the 5-7-3-1, I'm guessing, and then the 8 last. Could shoot for the 1 and then the 3, but okay, that's overcut there. So that tells me the 3 did go on the side. That's why he played it the pattern that way for the 3 last. Just a little overcut on the 7 using that inside English. Now everything pretty much set up very nicely for Sajal, and he should get at that 10 on the side rail, and then the 13-9 up at the top of the screen, up on your top rail. Then come back down, I believe, for these last 3 near the 8. A little surprised he's using this ball. It's not one that's hurting him at all, and one that could get him out of a little trouble if there was a problem. He's going to shoot the 11 off. And doesn't want to wait very long on that 10 ball on the side rail. The problems on this rack are that 10 and then the 9 and the 13 that are way up table. So generally playing 8 ball, kind of like anything else, you want to get to the problem first or as early as possible. Okay, needs a little angle here. And he got it decently. I think he can go down for the other 2 balls, or forward anyways. This is our last game of the 8 ball in this session. So we'll see a little 9 rocket here after this game completes. Okay, speed control is important there, just because you don't want to take the 13 off without taking the 9 right after. That way you don't have to travel the cue ball back up table for that second ball. So got a little thin on the 13, so he's trying to see how well he can kill the cue ball for the 9. I think he's close enough to it. He should be able to apply a little left English, a little inside English to try and hold there for the 9 ball. Maybe outside, just depends on how he wants to hit it. And he held it nice. So he'll come straight down the table towards the 14 next, I believe. And the 15 does pass the 7. So lots of options. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a skid there. But anytime you use that much lighter stroke, those skids are much more possible, in my opinion. And could have used a little more aggressive stroke there, cleaner contact on the 9, and actually would have gotten a little better position on the 14, a little closer. The 15 definitely passes the 7. So just a stop shot here for Sajal. They didn't have a qualifier this year in Austin like they normally do, so I'm guessing Sajal went on to San Antonio to qualify, where many of the Texas players did. Should just roll forward here for the 8 in the side. Pretty routine 8, although not a hanger. All right, so that'll conclude the 8-ball part of this session with Sajal gaining a 3-2 lead. We're going to see a little faster and looser in the 9-ball, I suspect. And why they're changing that, you can see right here from Pool Dog. A great special if you're trying to get started with a low deflection cue. Comes with all that, the Kamui Clear Soft Tip, a 60-day guarantee on the Pro Low Deflection Shaft by Pool Dog, $134 with Christmas right around the corner. For all you tuning in, we don't have the questions right in front of us. We'll try and get that at some time or another this evening for you. Kara, who's the backbone of this evening session, is trying to answer some of the questions for y'all on the chat. All right, so Sajal, we'll see if he picks it up. Still a bit more of a controlled break, and great results right there. Making the corner ball and having a nice shot on the one in the upper corner. I said before, I've seen Sajal play back in Texas. I was very impressed with his 9-ball, knowing he's still somewhat of a young player to the game, but a young player with a lot of resolve, it seems like, and a real calm demeanor. He's going to be a little upset about that one, though, not getting by the 3-ball to get at that 2, so we might see the jump cue here. For all you SEC fans, LSU, who I'm pulling for, which I always pull against Nick Saban. I just can't help it, but they're out to a 33-13 lead at the half in Tuscaloosa. Be all right by me if Alabama didn't make the college football playoff this year. I think our first jump shot from Sajal. Doesn't have to cover and clear much of it, it doesn't appear. Almost one you could attack with the full cue. Oh, cross corner. If you like banks. A little hand gesture of getting lucky, and that's just part of the game. There's plenty of times you get unlucky. So there's nothing wrong with a little getting lucky. Okay, should catch 2 rails back and forth for the 4 on the side. Can't take your eye off the prize, though. Got to knock this 3 in. And he overcut it. And that's, not a ball that he should miss. Any of these players should miss, really, in this room. But after you get a bit of a roll, it's almost like after a bad roll, your emotions get kind of raised a little bit, and you'll notice he's taking his time a lot from shot to shot, but then got down on that 3-ball kind of quick for Sajal, and after fortunately kind of lucking the 2 in, and just maybe didn't gather himself before that shot. And then at the same time we missed. That's just part of it. If we never missed, probably wouldn't play this game much. Okay, so Al's got to put a little draw stroke here. Oh, nice stroke there. Very easily done. Okay, another one. He's falling kind of straight here, so he's going to have to. Oh, he's forcing it with a high ball, it looks like. So coming out 2 rails probably. Yeah, like that. perfect speed on the cue ball. That's what I call trusting the rollout of the cue ball, letting it roll into position. And now tied up once again at 3. I think our last round tonight is 8:30. Is that correct? Oh, 10:30. We're running that late tonight. Okay. And we'll have some of those streamed for you at 10:30 and all through the night, all through the evening till 10:30. 10:30 being our last. I'm not sure if we'll have commentary for the 10:30 match. We'll see. All right, corner ball down, one on the side. The 2's going to get up a little bit. Made 3 on the break, though, so we'll see what kind of decision he wants to make. He's got an offensive bank cross side, I believe. Not taking much time, though, so that tells me he's probably playing safe. Yeah. Normally when there's a safe option and the players get down quickly, they're usually going for that direct route safety more than taking on that offensive shot. Usually when they're going offensive, they'll take a little time, group, gather themselves. And he did real well here. You always got to think of the jump cue these days, and he got the cue ball pretty close to the 6, so very difficult to jump that one. And actually kind of a difficult little kick shot as well. Anytime the ball's out in the middle of the table, there's not that rail, that reference of the rail that gives you a little help on these kick shots. Oh, great hit. Paper thin, but still a great hit, I thought. Oh, he just caught it a little thick. So probably a stop shot. Here for Sajal for just playing the 3 on the opposite side from a little short side position. And for a lot of these players, they're in the biggest setting of the year for them as far as a title. And it's easy to overthink things, just it's still the same game you've been playing all year long. And, a lot of these guys, just like pros, sometimes play their best when they're, just casually thinking a little bit more and rely a little more on execution. And I think a lot of the players here, just loosen up, trust what you're looking at, know you've been preparing, and don't worry about a mistake. It's going to happen. It's hardly ever a game you play mistake-free. Okay, got a little full here on the 6, so probably going to draw the cue ball back somewhat in the position it's in now. Doesn't have to come back that far, but I'd like to gain a little angle on the 7, if possible. Yeah, I like that choice there. And this is kind of like your preference. If you want to draw it, come on one rail across the 9, across the top of it. You can play this with top inside and come 3 rails. I kind of like just coming simply 1 rail across the 9. You might just like 2 or 3 inches above it and then to the right of it. Oh, he's got to go. Yeah, just a little deceleration with the stroke, and Ended up getting on top of that 9 ball and really a difficult cut shot. Difficult safety. Just difficult all the way around. I think he's still got to try and cut it, though, to that lower left-hand corner. I think there's no scratch involved. Don't believe so, anyways. He could bank the 9 kind of straight up the table to the top rail and try and leave a very difficult shot for Al. Yeah, I think cutting it. I think even though he's going to have to use the bridge to do so, I don't think he can edge the ball that way. This is very, very difficult. And this has got to be for the safety here. I think if he tries to cut it in that corner, I don't like his chances. And I think he can lose the cue ball in the lower left-hand corner pocket very easily. Now, the thing that he likes about cutting it to the lower right or playing safe off of it from this side is he can reach it, being right-handed. So he feels like he can put a little better stroke on it, which I agree with that, but it just doesn't appear the geometry adds up, meaning the way the angle is that it's a very safe shot at all. So I think he's going to have to take the bridge eventually, and unless he decides to play safe, like I was talking about, like try to maneuver the 9 into a tough position, leaving the cue ball on the rail for Al, and could be banking this long rail. That's not going to turn out what he wanted. And that's the thing on that kind of shot. He was trying to bank the 9 up on the side rail, and he didn't want to overhit it to give up an easy cross side or a shot in the side, and that tendency happens a lot to where you kind of let up on it worrying so much and you don't get much out of the shot. So unfortunate for Sajal right there after making a nice run out. Here we are. If you're looking to enter, you can find out about the preliminary rounds for 2020 as we speak. I'm sure it's going to be right here at Strokers again in 2020. Well, you can't complain about, there's not much to complain about as far as the pool room and the weather. Hotel's great. We're missing Jason Bowman right now, who's done for the day. He comes up with all the great questions. We'll get Kara in the booth here in a little bit. Find out about her 9-ball wit. She said she's a 2 handicap in the APA, but coming for you. Won't be long. She'll be holding some trophies. All right, Al to inspect the rack. And scratching the break, and again a very successful break as far as balls made, but losing the cue ball in the upper left-hand corner. So Sajal has a chance to make up for that mistake on the 9 in the last rack. And I'll tell you, ball in hand is one of those things. It's a crazy, crazy weapon if you get it, that you can make a lot of mistakes. You can be down. You can have a number of things going against you. And you get that ball in hand, it kind of just as an alarm clock, kind of wakes you up, shakes everything off, mistakes you had, and makes you kind of confident again in a quick manner. Again, this is the kind of spot I'm talking about. Don't overthink it. You know, there's a perfect place to be, but it's not that type of game where perfect is always necessary. Okay, he's got a nice angle just to come one rail. Off the 5, right at the 7. All about just making the balls. And that's good, and that's the only thing I've seen from Sajal at times is when you're in good position, take advantage of it and be a little more aggressive with the position still. It's like when you start to get out of line is when you really try to simplify things. But when you're in line, that's when you need to take advantage and be a little more aggressive on the strokes, meaning gaining a little closer position to the 7 is all I'm talking about. Okay, pretty nice there. Got a little bit of an angle, so a decision has to be made. Do I go forward here or do I draw the ball? Both aren't ideal from this angle, but he can do it. He can manage it. It's weird. If he draws the ball, he's kind of drawing it towards maybe getting on top of that 9 again. Looks like he's at the low part of the cue ball, so should get to the right of the 9, but okay. So there you go with the draw. Like I said, he's kind of drawing on top of it again. Real smart not to let the draw like go, you know, with a lot of draw to where you could really get on top of the 9, knowing that the cue ball is going towards the 9. Let me just stay on top and take this little cut shot to the lower right-hand corner. You know, a little missable, but a shot that if you're an aspiring 9-ball player, it's one you got to get used to. Shoot this type of shot on the 9 a lot. He's going to go for his extension. Great shot. After a scratch on the break by Al, clearance of the table there in rack number 8, and it's 4-4. So a lot of pressure here with these guys. This is a one-loss side match, so somebody's got to go. And now essentially a race to 3 for both their tournament lives. You know, it'd be nice to say I win a lot of easy matches, but I think a lot of the guys and ladies that come to these events want the pressure matches. They want to have the hills or something they can talk about. Oh, it was hill, and I came with this shot, and I did this or did that. And sometimes there's some not so fun stories that go along with those, but it's all part of the game. And these guys are on a little bathroom break. You can see the tournament room and lots of matches going on, and we'll be going pretty late tonight. Starting again early tomorrow, I believe, at 9 a.m. I'm not so sure what time the finals are scheduled. Yeah, okay, we got the information. It's 7 o'clock. And the ladies were pretty much right on time. All of us, of course, hoping that everything works out with the timing. I mean, it usually runs a little after, but the way everything else has been going, I think it's going to be close. Now the finals is one extended race, so records will be erased by the guy who won the winners and the guy who won the losers. And I say guy, even though it is an open event, but we didn't have any ladies in the open this year. And we got them both back now. Sajal to break off here in game number 9. Both. Okay, successful break shot there, making the 4. He's got a thin cut shot on the 1 on the side, and I think he'll attack on it. He's got a 1-3 combo he could play, and he actually has a cross corner bank by the 7 that goes. I mean, you probably are not going to shoot that, but with that big of a pocket there, very hard to miss with the 7 being there. But I think it's going to be a cut shot, a back cut on the 1 on the side. Big shot in this match right here because you can see the layout, very runnable. And you can see the difference in routine and kind of pace of play between the two players. Sajal takes his time a little bit more, a little slower player. Now, not wasting much time at all. Buries a nice 1 ball there. And he's got a funny shot here. If the combo, most likely you're going to play the combo, but you don't want to lose the 2 ball because the 2 is a little thin on the 7. You might play kiss shot here if you're thinking about it, but okay, he played that nice with a lot of outside English to control not only the cue ball, but the pace of the 2 ball. It didn't get away from him. He should just draw down to the middle of the table for the 5 in the side. You can see the 6 in the lower left. And the 8 near the spot. We had a few lead changes in this match and looking for another one right here. Okay, got a little straight here. It's got a little angle, I think, to force the ball a little towards the bottom rail with the cue ball, but that's what he's done. He checked it up with a little inside. He's going to get a little bit of a tester on the 8. All right, getting up to regroup, something he didn't like there. And that may have been the pace he wanted to shoot this at. He may go back and forth. He may just slow roll it, just up to him, really. Oh, great shot. Great shot right there. Moreno, California, the 5-4 lead. After a missed opener by Sajal on the one on the side. After this match, we'll be right back at 6 o'clock, or shortly thereafter, excuse me. Not sure who's up there just yet, but we'll get you that as soon as we can. Well, Sajal having a little bit of an issue racking the balls here. Haven't seen much of that on this mainstream table, and really haven't had, from what I've seen, much of a problem the way the balls are breaking.
I got a headache. I played so bad. How you doing, baby? Good, man. Good.
All right, nice break there. Oh, a nice kiss on the one ball as well, coming down with the cue ball, making the 3 on the break. The 4 over the lower right-hand corner. So really, it's all about the 1. Of course, I don't see that being missed, but the 2 is on the rail, so I have to make a decision. Do I go for the short side or come up on the long side of the 2? Key is don't get much angle on the 2 and make it missable with the 4 so near the lower right-hand corner. It looks like he's going to draw around a couple rails. Oh, a nice stroke. And that's the thing, as long as he gets kind of straight on it where it's not real missable, distance shouldn't matter that much, and he can shoot from a little bit off the rail when it comes to the 4. Now the 6 is a little covered up by the 9. Gonna take some work to get in position on that one. Oh, just jawed it. I think he's probably just going to try and chip this in if it is playable. I think it is, and just take a little distance on the 4, kind of lay the cue ball between the 5 and 8. And you could move the cue ball a lot here, but got to have good speed control to not end up behind the 5 or if it went too far behind the 6-9, or if you got a little weak with the stroke, which I don't see that happening, you could end up behind the 8. But I like getting that position on the 4 as quick as possible. So just taking this and maybe the cue ball by the head string in between the 5 and 8, something like that. Oh, you decide to move it. And if your speed is not correct when moving it, okay, you got there. But you could see that little bit of danger. Okay, the 6 is playable from near where the 5's at, so you'd probably come up for the side pocket. The problem is you got to stay off the rail. I kind of like coming up for the upper left-hand corner, just bounce off a diamond and a half, I guess. If you do come up for the side, you got to have the right angle to draw back a little, and you got to stay off the rail. So off the rail enough, and I think the angle's heavy enough, he's okay. It's a little touchy, though. Yeah, this is a little funny. Thing is, he's got to draw the ball back to have any shot on the 6, and could get a little funny shot on the 6 where the 8's a big ball. And, oh, he cheated that nice. Now what do? You can't come straight across because the 9, you'll bump the 9. You'd like to lay the cue ball on that right side rail for the 7 in the upper corner, but I think he might need to go to the back side of the 7 and play it all the way down in the lower right corner. Just kind of tells me where the cue ball wants to go in a safe manner right here. Off the 6 with a little right spin, all the way to the back side of the 7. Like that. Speed is important. Okay, nice shot. Could hold the ball here for the 8 in the same corner. Most likely going to follow here for the 8 in the side, though. Oh, it looks like he's hitting low English. So maybe not. Maybe he is just holding for the 8 in the same corner. Nice shot. So like many matches that we're going to see from here on out in the tournament, I think we're going to have a lot of hill matches the last day and a half here, and looking like one here at the 4:30 round. Great shooting. So we've seen that corner ball go in a lot, that being the 5 on this rack and the 1 on the opposite side. There's that 5. Wants a little more speed on the 1. Got a cut shot. So probably should go at this cut. Naturally come at 2 rails towards the 2 ball. These are the types of shots that really make the difference in the matches. You can see how capable these guys are of running the table. So get this one down and get at the 2 and get on out. Definitely a tester. All right, hit it nice. He got a little angle to draw up the left side rail to kind of shoot that gap between the 4 and the 8, I believe. And again, this is where you don't worry about getting so close to the 3. That way you don't involve a whole lot of trouble. Go ahead and take a little distance, kind of get position as quick as you can and be happy with it. That way you don't get snookered. Oh boy. And that's the second time the draw stroke kind of failed him a little bit. Yeah. Not going to be happy there. And a tough kick shot. The 2 rails is not really offered because of the 6 ball being there. It's in the way. With the 8 being there, he's going to have to bend the cue ball a little bit. Maybe with a little draw or maybe with a little left English or a combination of both. High ball, though. He could stretch this long and not hit the 3 at all. Yeah, I like that. High ball tends to make the cue ball lengthen a little bit and kind of can be unforeseen and not realize what's happening. So Al in a good spot with ball in hand here. He needs to just make sure he gets on the good side of the 4. And he did. Cue ball naturally travels towards the 6 now. Can handle a lot of angles on the 6. Can even handle straight in as long as you stay off the rail. Choice here. I would like to go probably straight up the table. I know you could put inside on this, but I think straight up the table towards the 7 is a pretty easy play. Maybe could have used letting it out a little bit more there. He's shooting from some 5 feet away here. Tough shot. Oh, great, really relaxed stroke right there. Learned something from Al on that one. All right, so cut it a little much to the pocket, to the right side of the pocket. So he got a little more cue ball movement, kind of getting the cue ball a little on top of the 9. But again, one of those shots, if you're a 9-ball player or looking to be a 9-ball player, you got to really become proficient at those types. So Al Moreno to the hill first. Again, this is a 1-loss side match. So whoever loses will be done for the 2019 U.S. Amateur. I'm sure we'll see both these guys back next year. I mean, hard to say for sure, of course, because you have to qualify to get here to Palm Harbor. The strokers. Okay, he's going to get a shot on the 1, but not one that, I mean, one he can make for sure, but being on the rail, very hard to get position. So pool, like many other things, it's all about value. What's the value in shooting a medium tough shot if you really can't continue the run? You could shoot it in the upper corner. Maybe elevate the cue a little bit and play a bit of a 2-way shot. If he makes it, he has position on the 2. And if he doesn't, well, Sajal has to come with a very long, tough shot probably from the opposite end of the table. Definitely won't be rolling out from this position, I don't believe. You see it every now and again when a player can actually see the object ball that they're needing to shoot at. But okay, so this tells me he's going to make the 1 and then He's trying to play a nice safety on the 2. Is why. That's where he sees the value in it. Didn't get it down. And that's always the psychological part of a shot like that, is you know you're not continuing your run. You know that you're making the 1 just to play safe on the 2, which probably was the correct path of thought there. But still, it can play on you a little bit when you're trying to make that first shot. You're just making a medium tough shot just to play safe. The line on the cue ball wasn't the best there, and he's going to get a peek at the 2, but not an offensive shot. So he could bank the 2 back down table and kill the cue ball with a little high left English, maybe behind the 3. Not so sure he can really edge the 2 and try and run the cue ball safe. That's very difficult. Trying to play a soft one, put him behind the 7. I'm not sure he got the snooker. It's close, but it's definitely not a hard kick shot to hit. Kind of what we call soft safety, meaning you might get the snooker, you may not. You're trying to keep your opponent off an offensive shot, but you know they're going to be able to hit this ball. He's trying to bring the cue ball back by the 7 like that. He's going to give up a shot, but a pretty good effort by Al. Had a good chance to get the safety there. So a tester here for Sajal, especially with his opponent on the heel. Okay, Al not taking much time here, so either a safety laying the 2 on the back rail or cross corner bank. Okay, he went ahead and played the safety. Caught it a little thinner than he wanted. Oh, but wow, did he get a snooker somehow? No, he didn't, but wanted the 2 to be a little bit more behind the 4-9. But he did get it to the back rail, so still not an easy shot for Sajal, but what's going to happen with the cue ball? It's going to leak out for a little bit of a cut shot, I think. Yes, it did. So Al, who doesn't take quite as much time as Sajal, he'll probably go give this 2-ball look, I think, and then go after it, I believe. I think you got to be offensive here. Cue ball kind of naturally goes towards the 3. A little left-hand spin probably here to help out the cue ball and help out pocketing the 2 a little bit. Really debating, is it jump cue time here? If I kick to the bottom rail, maybe kick softly, maybe lay the 2 up on the 8 and, you know, kind of live to fight another day kind of theory. Or I think he knows if he jumps it, he can't do a whole lot with the cue ball. He'll have to play a long 3-ball shot, but maybe all he's got. Okay, he's looking at the side rail kick. So there's some type of kick shot he's pretty confident in here. Watch out, corner pocket with the cue ball. Okay, pretty nice effort. Don't think Al's going offensive here, is he? No, he's going to play the 2 around a little bit. Really hard to get good shape on the 3 from this angle on the 2. Okay, wanted a little bit more out of it than that, but still not leaving Sajal like just something that's easy. He could shoot this in the side, and I think that's the way he's going to go. Cue ball's going to have a lot of speed on it. It's pretty thin. So I'm not sure he can hit it with a light enough stroke to just come 1 rail and back over. He may have to go up and down. We'll see. Hitting it with a high ball, it looks like. Has to have a little left spin on it, though, you would think. Oh, he hit it great. Really nice shot. Kind of floated it with that outside English and really slowed the cue ball down. Big stretch here, so he'll go get his extension. Anytime you're on that angle, like corner to corner, caddy corner like that, that's always the longest stretch on the table. So it doesn't take much before you have to get the bridge. I've seen one bridge shot earlier that he hit really well. Okay, that one not quite as much, and he was trying to simplify it. I don't think he's okay, though. Thought he was shooting it to come more across the table to play the 4 in the lower left, but kind of just killed his ball, accepting the shot. Nothing wrong with that. So probably the shot of the match at this point. Oh, he hit it nice. Hit it nice. Went a little long on the 6, so he's still not out of the woods. And that came from, if you notice on that last one, he cut the 4 to the upper part of the pocket. So anytime you miss the pocket a little bit, it kind of changes the path of the cue ball, and which consequently changes the speed on the cue ball. So still has to make a nice one here, and I think he'll decide to go back and forth. Put a little more speed, maybe not. He may just float it and come 1 rail over for the 7 in the same pocket. Kind of up to him, and the guys at the table really see the angles better than we do. Okay, nice stroke, but that's going to be on the 50 there. So I'm not so sure if his offensive run here in game number 12 is done, at least for a moment. He can play a cut shot, but it sure is thin. Okay, looking at that cut shot. He's going to play the cue ball behind the 8 maybe. Kind of a two-way, but the problem is if he makes the 7, there may not be anything to play on the 8. What a great shot that was. And this is going to get really funny again. So Sajal, hats off as far as, man, the entire run's just been from a little bit out of line and kind of stays that way. And a funny shot, a funny bank here with the ball being, if not froze, really close to that rail. I don't know if he can easily get the 8 to the back rail and the cue ball way up table either. May spin this in with a lot of left English. And I think it's high enough up to where he doesn't scratch cross corner, but he's going to have to put a bit of speed on it to get back across for the 9, so it makes it a little missable. Yeah, like that. That's what happens. You want to put enough speed on it so you don't quite get the spin on the ball, or it doesn't quite react how you want. If he could just kind of slowly spin that one in, the shot becomes kind of routine for these guys. But I think Al, again, keep it simple. I don't like trying to move the cue ball here. Yeah, you make that shot on the 9 all day, so just kind of stop your ball on the 8. But yeah, just unfortunate for Sajal this entire rack, and a couple of racks this match. Made some really nice shots. It's just the cue ball, just a little short, a little too much here and there, and kind of kept him out of line on a few shots. But Al, you got to tip your hat to Al. He's played a really solid match. We'll see if he can get these last 2 down. Yeah, I like him using the bridge. I think the bridge is just a stop shot. You could even roll it in real lightly if you didn't want to stop your ball with draw. Kind of up to you. Yeah. Okay, so a 9 ball running it down the rail to advance on the 2019 U.S. Amateur. Al Moreno with a great match right there, and Sajal as well. Unfortunate that one of them had to go, and I'm sure we'll see more of Sajal here in the upcoming events here in Palm Harbor. But, thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back here with another match. I believe it's going to be the 6 o'clock round. Yeah, we're running a few minutes behind, and then we'll have some winter sides at 7:30 as well. So stay tuned right here from Palm Harbor. Strokers, the U.S. Amateur. We'll be back shortly.